New day, new verse. Let's dig into verses 9 through 10. Love from the center of who you are. Don't fake it. Run for dear life from evil. Hold on for dear life to good. Be good friends who love deeply. Practice playing second fiddle. Well, it's a short verse for, being two of them. At the same time, it seems remarkably deep to me that we are told to love from the very being of who we are. And it connects to me almost as him echoing the commands of Jesus. When he's asked what are the most important commandments, to Shema and to love others as you love yourself. Because in the Shema, it is the all your strength, we translate it as all your strength, all your heart, all your might. But the words are more accurately your will, your intention, and your muchness. And so it's like love from the center of who you are. Love with the muchness. If God gave you something, use it. And it's interesting that idea kind of connects back to biblical work. The creation of something for the betterment of others. Wildflowers, they don't necessarily do, but they're beautiful. These kind of things that even if we may not understand what the meaning is, they still make the world a brighter and better place. And, that we can take that muchness and put it forward to God. That it's not just an act of worship, it's an act of worthship. That our lives become a sacrifice of praise because of what He has done. Definitely something that I pray I get better at daily, because I know I fail on that one. But it's beautiful that we're even, not just love from the center of who you are, but to hold on to the good, to focus on, how that looks, and it is to do the servant life. Jesus, our Messiah, our King, he shows the way that life looks, that being a servant leader. He takes the role of a servant. And Paul talks in one of his poems, I think it's in Philippians, maybe that's, they all kind of blend together sometimes. But as a quick prayer that I think he's iterated it a couple versions in different places, where he just says, it's like God lived, Jesus, born, lives the obedient life and the horrible death of a servant, of a criminal, in those roles. And it's beautiful to me that he did this to kind of set the way we do it, to live in that servant life. And so we're able to do the same. We're able to put ourselves aside, to take up our cross, to live a life that is one of mercy, compassion, and love for others. There's a reason Paul says that of all these, love is the greatest. And that middle ground there, that just run for dear life from evil and hold on to dear life to what is good. And it's like, you live the life, you worship God with the muchness He gave you. You do it in the servant life He shows us to live, not focusing on getting the top of the dog-eat-dog world, but being happy just to be. And then there in the middle, running from evil and holding to good. It's the purposeful choice. Every single one of these is a purposeful choice, an act of love. Loving from the center of who you are, that is an act of worship. Running from the evil things and holding to good, that is an act of sacrifice. It is distinction. Much like the tabernacle, it is saying this is distinct. Playing second fiddle, a choice to put others ahead. All three are great acts of worship. All three are acts of devotion where we put our lives on the altar before Him. Much like we've been talking through a lot of Paul with Romans here. That we're able to put our lives down and put it before Him. That we don't have to look the same when we do it. And that it yet still looks the same in sense. And it's beautiful that, because there's these questions of, and this right here is a slight off tangent. So if you don't want the on tangent of good versus evil, end it here. I'll see you guys tomorrow for verses 11 through 13. If you want the offshoot of the concept of ethereal good and ethereal bad, that's where this is going to go in. Because, it's curious to me that we have this concept of good and evil, and it's not a cultural thing in the world sense, it's a kingdom culture. That good is this promotion of life, this promotion of other, this dwelling with God. That, and it's curious that culturally we almost seem to understand what a good person is and what a bad person is, even if they're from different parts of the world. It's just certain things are not okay. And that making those things okay is what has to be learned. In many regards, there is still the fact that human beings are kind of selfish by base. But that's where it's interesting to me that, because you have cultural good and cultural evil, and you have personal good and personal evil. We just call them morals and ethics. But the idea that kingdom culture of good looks very different from world culture of good. And it staggers me that even, and it just came to me here, the one that sticks out most for now, because it's a changing relationship, ever evolving. But for the time being, the woman, the adulteress, brought before Jesus, we caught this woman red-handed. What do we do with her? Now, the law of Moses says that you stone them. And if she's caught red-handed, you would be stoning both of them. Not just her. Where's he? I know a lot of people have made that comment, but seriously, where's he? So, rather than touch any of this stuff, Jesus draws in the ground. Some people ruin, some people listed sins, some people the names. We don't know. But he starts drawing in the sand and asks, which one of you is sinless? Cast the first stone. Ye who is without sin, cast the first stone. And they start dropping their stones, and they walk off, starting with the oldest, and then to the youngest, and then suddenly it's just Jesus and the woman. Well, where are your condemners? They're gone. Well, I don't condemn you either. Go and sin no more. And I love that God shows infinite mercy in that kind of standing. At the same time, not only to her, but to them. Because she gets the mercy of God saying, to go and sin no more, and the fact, but it's also showing them that he's not there to condemn them. Because again, we don't know what he wrote. But it's curious to me that it is the oldest there, that the quote-unquote wisest, those who've seen the most years more accurately, are the ones to realize that we all fail. And that God shows mercy to them in that wisdom. That if they had, and I wonder, if they had held on to that level of rage and hate, would he have tried? Because he gives them the opportunity to walk away from that behavior and to revel in the fact that God has been merciful to them for everything they've done. Especially when ancient world, and even now in some places here, people think, well, you piss the gods off and they'll smite you. And here's Jesus explaining, no. I am God. I'm not here to smite you. I made you. Why would I do that? I will if you make those choices, but I'm giving you the option. Don't do that anymore. Just come. And that he would show that kind of mercy and the opportunity for us to look at true idea of good is mercy, not sacrifice, and knowledge of God, not, and it's interesting to me, and I know they use the word a lot, but it's a fitting one here, that, because knowing, a little different in English, and that's why I like the German for it, kennen versus wissen, to know something intimately or to know of it, to, I know intimately the city where I'm from. I know of a city I've never been, as a random example. I know Vegas. I don't know Cleveland. I know of Cleveland. I could point it out on a map, but I don't know the culture behind it. I don't know the characteristics of it. Anyway, to the idea of knowing. Because when I read that verse, the second part of Hosea 6:6, the knowing God, the understanding, it kind of makes me think it's better to understand the heart of God, to let him in, than it is to play the game of religion. That's how I read the second part of that verse. So that good and evil is no longer about what your religion says it is. It's what God says, this is okay, this is not. And bit of admonishment towards certain groups that cast others down. That's not how we're supposed to do it as Christian believers. Because in the Word, when we're told to call out things, it's between fellow believers first. Our lives are the example to non-believers, so that they see maybe there is something to what we're talking about. Not the infighting. Because kingdom culture good is to love. To love from the center of who you are. To love others as you love yourself. To practice playing second fiddle. To love. Not an emotion to fall in and out of, but a choice. Agape love. A choice that says, I'm aware of the situation. I've made my choice. I will choose to love. And that is a thing of beauty. Well, to everyone who stuck around, I will see you guys tomorrow for verses 11 through 13. God bless. Bye.